Y'all already know what it is, man.
World premiere of syndicated, culturally lit Africa radio show.
Let's go.
The home of all things diaspora. Coming to Easy FM 107.5, Ahamka FM 99.5, and on television, Ocean One TV, ATV, and online worldwide. Join our hosts, Aleda Castillo and DJ Saki, every Wednesday, live at 10 p.m. GM time. Meet the who's who in Ghana and who is coming to Ghana of culturally lit Africa. Find us online, #culturally lit. World premiere of syndicated, culturally lit Africa radio show. The home of all things diaspora.
My name is Aleda Castillo. You're listening to Culturally Lit Africa. I am your host of Culturally Lit Radio Show.
I'm an open book, really just looking to create opportunity for people.
If you're a great singer and you don't have a good character and you don't know how to talk to your musicians, you will always change musicians.
If you have a church,
yes,
or maybe a crusade, and you mention that Jesus is black, you might lose all your members. I'm telling you.
Welcome to Culturally Lit Africa. I am your host, Aleda Castillo, and I am joined by a world famous now, right? DJ Saki. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hot, directly from New York.
How is the weather condition over there?
It's like 100 degrees. How is it in Ghana?
As usual. Sometimes rainy, sometimes sunny. But today weather is very hot.
Well, I'm very glad to have the opportunity to come live again one more time through our beautiful internet. This is Culturally Lit Africa, coming to you to Ocean One television, Ahamka FM, Easy FM 107.5 out of Accra, and Easy Radio is live right now. Hello, everyone. We have a special guest this evening, our pastor from Ghana. How do you say your name, Pastor? What is your name?
Sackeyfio.
Yes, the name is Sackeyfio. Carl Sackeyfio.
Carl Sackeyfio.
That's right. You did good on that.
So it's like my name. It's like my name, but he has a few added.
Yes, you have a few after Saki.
Yes.
Not few, few.
FIO.
Few.
Yeah.
So, Pastor, you are in Cape Coast.
That's right.
He is our neighbor in Culturally Lit Africa House.
That's right.
The best neighbor you can have, and we thought no better person than to talk about the relationship between religion in Ghana and legislation. As I see, every time I fly back to Ghana, it seems like I see another church and another church and another church. It seems to be a great influence in the community and the culture. So I wanted you here to talk about that. But first, tell us about yourself. Where are you pastoring?
Yes, okay. The name of the church I founded is Winning Light Bible Church.
Okay.
Winning Light Bible Church. I founded that was way back 1999 in a village behind Kumasi.
Wow.
Behind Inkaria, yes, in the rural area. Then after about 3 years, I came to Cape Coast and started a branch church here in Cape Coast. Yes. So I have another pastor, I am pastoring the other church, and I'm here in Cape Coast. Winning Light Bible Church has been in existence for almost 22 years. Yeah. And I am married, 25 years married with 5 kids.
Wow. 5 kids. 5 kids. How do you do it?
By God's grace.
No, it's the wife. She does all the work.
Well, I wouldn't argue with that. Yes, I wouldn't argue with that. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. And so is that when you opened the church, when you began this church, is that the first time that you were pastoring or on your own, or you had been already for a while with another congregation?
Actually, I was handling a small fellowship in the village, okay, before I actually got into full-time ministry. I was working and then handling small size village fellowships, and then still under, tutelage under Central Gospel Church those days. Before, by God's grace, I started this church.
Okay. So I wanted to, we had recently done a show and we spoke about the president talking about same-sex marriages, and
that's right.
Some of the things that the Ghana government is against, and people talk about their moral values and what they believe legislation should be. And I know that in the US, for example, there's a separation between church and state, but it doesn't mean that we are not influenced by it, right? So I'm curious, from your perspective, do you as a pastor, is there a group of pastors and congregations that sort of influence or try to lobby to the government to say, hey, this is not who we are as Ghana, and these are the laws that we believe should be in place? Does that happen in Ghana?
Let me just start this way. With the laws of Ghana, it all was derived from the colonial era. You understand? So legislation, constitution, and everything was actually inherited from our colonial masters. Then over the years, we have fine-tuned a bit of cultural influence here and there. So in our case, based on our cultural influence, our cultural background, and the laws we inherited, it's most likely these things is not actually accepted at all. Well, there are some, that are not from the pastoral level. I don't think Christian Council, anybody from that grouping or from the charismatic circles or from the Pentecostal circles, none of such groups within Ghana, I don't think they'll even make a step of lobbying for that. I don't think so. Because from this end, apart from the fact that we inherited this constitution or legislature from our colonial masters, which over the years we have fine-tuned, our culture doesn't permit it from within us for anything like that to even happen. So to lobby, I really have my doubts. Have my doubts. Yes.
Okay. So how then do you have then the community or the church community? How then does it influence legislation, or does it at all influence legislation?
Yes, yes. The church, the Christian church in Ghana, do have an influence on legislation. Gradually, it's even becoming more. All right, but initially it was just based on what we inherited. But now it's even becoming more, because nowadays the churches is not only the mainline churches that were in place, like the Catholic Church, the Anglican Church, the Methodist Church, and the Presbyterian Church. Now we have a lot of Pentecostal churches and charismatic churches that are growing in great numbers. Not to even think about the smaller groups that are also coming up, which are also doing quite effective work. Okay. And so putting all that together, gradually the church is having an influence on the laws. The church is having an influence on legislature. In fact, the last influence of where this LGBTQ thing, came up, I think this was our late president's time. His Excellency, Atamils. Yes, when this thing, because of his grounding in the things of God, and also from his background, I think he's a Methodist also, and then also from his cultural background, he came out emphatically, throwing this thing out of place, that it is never going to happen on our land. He came out categorically. And then I think Muhammad too did same. Okay, all having the same background. And then again, well, with our current president, initially he wasn't too clear, but I think quite recently he's been quite clear on some of these things. But I think he made a categorical statement on a religious platform. I think it was a Christian program. He was invited and he spoke, and he was emphatic on that. Yeah. So the church is having a good influence on these things now.
Do you believe that the church should have an influence, or should it be a separation between a church and state, as they say? Should the church and the beliefs, whether it's Christian, Hindu, or whatever religion, should it really have an influence on the laws that are placed in Ghana?
I believe so. I believe
Why?
so.
Why?
The reason is that the laws of most countries, let me just say within the last 30 years, has been based on the 10 Commandments. Yes, it has all been based on the 10 Commandments. And it will even surprise you that some of the Sharia law, even by the Muslims, from the Old Testament, okay, from Genesis to I think you find it somewhere in Deuteronomy, where bits and pieces, and most of it's coming from there. Now, in the Old Testament time, the administration of a nation was very much involved with the priesthood. So if you could remember, I mean, in the days of Moses, though was the leader of Israel, he still played the role as a priest as well as Aaron, okay?
Yes.
Then after that, in the days of the kings, anything that the kings had to do, had to consult the priesthood, the prophets, and they had a bearing on the direction of Israel in those days. Anytime the king chose to do otherwise, there were problems. Israel went on the negative turn, and everything just went back very bad until they repent and they take up the gospel again, they take up the things of God again. That is when things will improve. So I believe that with such information made available to us from scriptures, it will be a big mistake not to allow the church to have influence on legislature. It is very, very important because the strength of every nation is from above. The strength of every nation is from, they may have whatever other, but at the end of the day, if authority is from above, all goes well. If it is not, it's chaos.
So that brings me to the next question, because I had read somewhere where Hinduism was the fastest growing religion in Ghana. I don't know if that's true. Is that true?
No.
What in fact is true?
We know that the Hindus may have made some progress, but I think that the Muslims are making progress. Okay, they are gradually making effort to catch up with Christianity. Okay, with the Christian community. They are doing everything possible. You understand? It's even showing up in the way we the politicians select their running mates and all that. Okay.
Wow.
Yes, it's even it's showing, the way things are done nowadays. Yes. So the Muslim community is making some progress. But then they are not yet, to the numbers of the Christian. But again, the progress is quick. It's quite quick.
Yes, it's happening quickly.
The progress is quite quick. Of course, here in Ghana, we are having influence from some of the Arab countries, financing education, Muslim education, financing some of the secondary school, financing the building of mosques and all that. In fact, the Ahmadis are doing a lot because they are more educational oriented. So they invest a lot in education. So they do their secular education and they do their Muslim, educating as well. But I think that the Muslims are making a quicker progress as compared to 50 years ago. Currently, they are making quite,
Yeah. So don't you see then, or do you think, or see that as an issue? Say, for example, you believe that the church should have some influence in legislation, but let's assume that Hinduism or even the Muslims will dominate over Christianity. Would you have a problem then having the church influence legislation if they are the majority?
Currently, I know there is a good harmony between the Christians and the Muslims in this country. And Ghana, we have to be very grateful to God for that harmony. When it comes to legislation, the Christian community and the Muslim community come together and discuss. I remember quite recently, there was an issue at Wesley Girls, just recently, where they had to, I think it was within their fasting period, and some of the students opted to go into the fast. And it created some hot issues within the region, because I think the management at that time felt that for health reasons, it will not be good for the students, the Muslim, students to be in that fasting mode. So it became an issue. I think they had to set round table. I think they had to, I think even got into parliament, though it wasn't some kind of a law that had to be passed. But then we had men of authority from both sides to sit and to discuss and to come to a certain understanding, which was mutual and which I believe is good. The laws of the country makes room for freedom of worship and freedom of society. But because the Muslims and the Christians are predominant, the two groupings come together and discuss. And in fact, there is a fundamental belief that we all come from Father Abraham. So as much as we believe in Abraham, they also believe in Abraham. Yes, the differences are very slight. In fact, the only difference that I can say is that maybe it is the issue of the sonship of Christ Jesus. But currently, we have some of the Muslims who are saying that if you don't believe in Christ, then you are not a true Muslim. I remember hearing the vice president some time ago, making a statement like that, that if you don't believe in Christ Jesus, then you are not a true Muslim. So there is that cooperation, there is that harmony, there is that understanding, there is that mutual respect for each other. So even if they get to the majority, it will not be much of a problem for us. I am just hoping that when they become the majority, though I pray it doesn't happen, they do, I pray that they will not sound fundamentalist. They will not be that fundamentalist type. That's what I pray, that it won't happen. But then currently as we speak, and with the progress of, the Christian worship now, because now there is diversity, some level of diversity because of further enlightenment. So there's a lot of evangelism going on. There is a lot of outreach going on. There are a lot of smaller churches coming up, all preaching Christ. So I believe that with that mutual understanding, and even if they increase in number, we will still be able to maintain some level of equilibrium, some level of understanding, so that both parties will be able to have a positive influence on legislature.
There are two cultural topics that were hot topics in Ghana. And, one was related to what we mentioned before, the LGBTQ community. But as in respect to protection of life, where some of the LGBTQ community feels endangered, or they need some sort of housing or a space where they can exist. And in light of the president making that the comment that in no way there will ever legalize same-sex marriage, there seems to be no in-between sort of compromise. And I don't mean compromise in values, but what I mean is the focus on, say, human rights and people having their individual rights versus this is what we believe and this is our values because we are a Christian nation and therefore it should be that way. Is there a solution? Is there a medium? Is there a means by which the LGBT community can have their own freedom to live their lives and also Ghana remain a Christian community and sustain their values?
Well, let me answer this from my personal point of view, and I
Sure.
know that a lot of ministers will agree with me on this one.
Yes.
You see, there is nothing like an in between. It's either black or white. It's either light or darkness.
Okay.
I mean, as we sit here, if the lights go off, it's total darkness. If the lights come on, it is light. There is nothing like a midway. There's nothing like a midway. So personally, if you ask me that I should give a certain room to these people in the name of human rights,
yes,
I don't think they even have that right.
Okay.
I will explain myself again when it comes to that right. You see, when God created man, even if we believe in the creation of mankind, God never created anybody to have an in-between. You are either a male or you are either a female.
Yes.
Now, let's just put human beings aside.
Yes.
There are a lot of animals around. I mean, there are dogs, there are monkeys, there are, you name all the animals. Have we ever come across a male dog going after another male dog? It's never happened. Have we ever come across a male monkey going after another male? No, it just doesn't happen. So even if at that level they don't do that, how much more we who have been created in the image and likeness of God, why will we then bring ourselves so low to that? Yes, I know in scriptural days, in it is written that such things happened in Sodom and Gomorrah. What happened to Sodom and Gomorrah? Till to date, that land of Sodom and Gomorrah is a wasteland. You understand? So if we have this wealth of knowledge available to us, why should we even leave a space for them to have a space so that in some time to come, it will become a curse for the land we live on? Already we have our problems. Already we have our challenges. Already we have issues. And then we are going to leave a space for something like that, which God frowns on so bad. And then we know, I think that any space that be giving any room at all to operate. Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think so. Well, some say that, well, in the name of love, we must accommodate them. But you see, the thing is that if you truly love somebody, like your children, if you love your kids, you discipline them, right? Because you want the best out of them, yes. So why would I, in the name of love, allow a boy to go after another boy? After some years, I know very well that that guy is going to be destroyed. That woman is going to be destroyed. At the end of the day, their person is destroyed because they end up in various things of diseases and all sorts of, you name it. You understand? So why should we allow them even to do something that in the long run will harm them?
So, I respect that. I respect that opinion. What if then I think about how it used to be legal to have multiple wives. It's no longer the case. Now you have one wife, but there's still adultery being committed, and there is no active search or punishment for someone who commits adultery. And that is not legal, but yet people live and let live. So should then, if it's illegal to have same sex relationships, should we just live and let live as we allow for adultery?
Let me give this bit of adultery, okay? Now, the law of Ghana
is
this. when you have a traditional marriage,
Yes.
okay, when you have a traditional marriage, that one, you are allowed to have more than one wife. Tradition. So
Okay.
that is cultural.
Tradition,
And
but not law.
yes.
Okay. Okay, we are
When you
freezing
have
for
a
a minute.
arrangement. But the moment you move on to it is a holy matrimony, you are actually moving yourself into another circle. Then you are moving yourself into a husband wife. All right, okay. Now, the Muslims also say, and it is also, you can have one wife at four. You must treat them equally. You understand? To some extent, the traditional system of marriage, cultural system of marriage, is to some extent accepted. You understand?
Yes.
Only that when it comes to our Christian circle, our strict Christian circle, that is not. You shift into the Christian circle, then you are against addressed in, because when you go to court, you either swear by the
We're having a little technical difficulty with the internet. We're going to read some comments while we wait on the connection to improve. We have AJ Woodson, who says we should not judge one another. It's God's judgment. Everyone will answer, but we are not to judge one another. We are still supposed to love our brothers and sisters and pray for them, but not judge them. We are talking to Pastor Sackeyfio. I hope I pronounced it right. And he is enlightening us and sharing with us on the culture of Ghana and how it relates to current legislation. And I find it fascinating. We want to see if he is back on. Pastor, can you hear me? Yes, we lost you there for a moment. So you were saying, okay, we're still having a bad connection. Okay. Can you hear us?
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
So you were saying?
Yes, I was saying with regards to, you mentioned, kind of putting adultery as against this LGBT thing. All right. Okay.
Yes.
Now, the point I was trying to make is that adultery, you see, it's an explanation from the Christian point of view. All right. But from the Muslim point of view, it's not like that. And from the traditional point of view, it is also not like that. Okay. And I mentioned about the fact that with our traditional system, all right, it allows you to have more than one wife. It's a polygamous system.
Yes.
All right. The Muslims also have a polygamous system. And for them, they believe it is right before God. But for us as believers and as Christians, we say, according to our Bible, that it is not right. You understand? Because when in the New Testament time, all the messages that came was to have one husband, one wife, one to one.
Right.
Exactly. All right. Now, with this background, that is the influence on on legislation in the country.
Yes. Yes.
And I know it's the same in the sub-region. Okay.
Yes.
Good. So when you go to the courtroom, you swear by the Bible, or you swear by the Quran, or you swear by the cross. So depending on where you stand, you are actually dealt with according to your beliefs.
Right.
So if you go to the court and you swear as a Muslim, they know that yes, if it is a marital issue, you have a polygamous system. It is right with the Muslim system. If you say you are a traditionalist, it is accepted. They know that is the system. But in our systems here in this country, there is nothing, there is no space, there is no gap for LGBTQ, because for us, it is an abomination. It is an outright abomination to the creation of mankind. There is nothing like that in our system. So, strictly speaking, there is no space. That is why we don't seem to want to tolerate them. Not at all.
Right.
The thing is, the moment you try to tolerate, you give an inch, they'll take a mile. That's how it is. You give an inch, they'll take a mile. Look at what happened in a crack fight recently. Someone rents out his house. The next moment is now being used as a base. You know, and just a simple, they are using the base also to curb other people. And the seriousness of it is that our setting, because of poverty and because they succeed in corrupting, you know, people who are vulnerable into a fold just because they have the money to finance them and to make them economically okay or financially okay. So even the basis of it is just not right. So for us, I don't think that any pastor or any imam that is from the Quran and from the Islamic circles, or even any fetish priest will even agree to that. They will never agree to that. No. You know, when we have our Independence Day parade, we have 3 groups of people who come and pray in our Independence Day parade. There's the traditionalists. They will come, they will do theirs. Then the Muslims will follow. And then the Christian believers will also come and do theirs. You understand? It tells you where Ghana as a country, where we stand with our beliefs. You understand? And if you realize that even the Hindus and all that, they don't even have a space in there. Though nobody is going to attack them or do anything to them, but they don't have any space. But this one, with this LGBT thing, I mean, it's against our human nature.
Yes.
So even the issue of human right, who should give you the right to hurt yourself? When at the end of the day, you're actually spreading diseases and you're actually maiming somebody's, excuse my language, somebody's very vital part. Why should that be? Why should you warp somebody's emotional person? I mean, it's just because at the end of the day, the person's psyche is seriously affected. His body is seriously affected. I mean, health-wise, it's not even the best. Why will I allow my son or daughter to go through anything like that? So I think I like what one of the presidents said. I mean, one of the African presidents, isn't Mugabe? I don't know if it is true. He says that the day the 2 men can stay in a room and produce a child, to allow it. If they can't produce a child when they've been put in a room, then they should forget it.
But I think they'll also give you an excuse that it's not mandatory for them to have a child. They will say it is their own right. And now, one thing that is influenced that some of the countries have accepted this. Yeah. And in our country, let me say Ghana, we have been influenced by so many countries because of our leaders are always borrowing from these countries, and you know, we are dependent on them. So I want to ask Pastor, if it comes to that situation, how is it going to be? Oh, it's so simple. I think we've answered that already. In the time of his late President Atta Mills, yes, His Excellency. You know, I don't know which of the presidents was on the seat then in the US and in the UK. I don't know whether it was Obama. It's Obama. Yes. When they put out something like that. Yeah. I think Obama legalized. Exactly. His time. Exactly. Yeah. And I think he spoke to the Kenyan president about it, and then Ghana too, about this human rights thing. And he was straight to the point. He told them, if for this reason you don't want to help Ghana, you can take your money. Oh, yes. In fact, it will be good for us that if they wouldn't give us any loan, I mean, it's okay. But I'm not sure this country can survive with loans from them. You know what? Tanzania.
You know why that president was killed? He was actually killed. He was killed because he decided not to take a loan from China. He decided not to take any help from the Western region. He decided to look into his country to block all the leakages. And by so doing, he started transforming the country. But you see, because investors were not having their way, they had to find a way to poison this guy to die.
Okay.
You understand? Yes. So it's been done before. Now let's look at Rwanda. Rwanda just came out of a civil war. They decided to put the past behind them, come together, you understand, and then rebuild their country. They built it themselves. And now Rwanda.
But this is the situation. Our kind of way is different.
Yeah.
Even today, we have had so many news. They are going to borrow to buy cars for the MPs in Parliament.
That's
they are
right.
going to borrow to do that.
That's unfortunate.
Ghana is always borrowing.
That's unfortunate.
So when it comes to that level, assuming it's come to that level that we have to borrow from these people, they are the most powerful people.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Because we can't survive on our own.
You see, that is the perception. It's the Western world have made that we can't survive on our own.
Are you sure it's from them or from we?
Oh, it's from our colonial masters.
We have so many leaders in Ghana here. They will come, they will say the same thing. They will always borrow.
You know what?
Not this current government.
It is just because
something that has been there for a long time.
True. It is just because we are not ready to bite the bullet. But we should come to the point
we can't bite bullets.
We have to be ready to bite the bullet. The thing is this. You see, in this country, you remember before Akufo-Addo and Bawumia took over this government, they said everything is in this country.
Yes.
Now they come and take over, and now they are borrowing.
It is called mind games.
Thank you very much. But the truth of the matter is that, you see, all we need is discipline.
Right.
All we need is discipline. Look, if the Prime Minister of the UK is riding a bicycle around, what stops us from just cutting down our cost? Listen, this issue of they taking a loan to go and buy vehicles.
But Pastor, I really comprehend what you are saying.
Yes.
But our leaders are not ready to change their mindset. They already have cars in Parliament, but they still want to buy luxurious cars. They are going for loans to buy cars for the MPs.
True.
It's not about we the individual. It's about the leaders.
Great.
When they accept this thing, we cannot do anything about it.
Well, you know what? I want to interject here for a moment, because I think you both make valid points, right? I mean, there's many countries that will fall into the borrowing, and the borrowing is really to expedite whatever the mission or vision is of the country or the country's leadership, because you cannot wait on the conditioning of the culture of the people to arrive to a certain thing, right? So you're going to borrow to expedite. And there's no question that all over the world there is corruption when it comes to these types of business dealings, right?
Exactly.
The question that I have, though, is let's assume that we don't have any borrowing. We don't have to oblige to another country's morals or standards. And we say, I do believe that Ghana can sustain itself if properly managed. I do believe that. And I do believe that people, especially if the Ghanaians outside of the country, come back and invest in its home. I think it could happen. But if you have
our leaders will still borrow. They will still borrow no matter what.
You're right. But I'm saying outside influence aside. Let's talk about just Ghanaians and people that live there and get married there, have children there, that may or may not be gay and hiding that, and are influenced by maybe the young culture that you see of things that are changing, and they're going in a different direction on their own. And they start really influencing their own network of young people and pushing for that freedom, just like we have freedom of religion and freedom to express our religion, even if others disagree. They're going to push for, I want the freedom to exercise my own choice, and I don't want to be punished or hurt physically because I do otherwise. It seems that their feeling is, if I exercise this right, even though it's an abomination to the country and belief system, when they exercise this publicly, they are physically harmed and thereby not protected by, the possibilities of being physically harmed and not being protected by the country. Should we not care that all people should be protected from physical harm, irrespective of their choice? And should people have that feeling? Like, I understand and respect what you're saying, but I'm saying I also look at their perspective and their fear of, I would hate to have someone feel about me that I'm an abomination and I have to walk around and still live and do things. And I understand, though, that you're saying the behavior, not the person, but the person doesn't receive it that way. So how can they feel protected by a country that feels that this is an abomination?
Well, the thing is this: if your country tells you what you're doing is an abomination, then you have to repent from it. Stop it. Yes, you have to stop it. Yes, you have to stop it. At the end of the day, you just have to put an end to it. You just have to repent and go
end it or move.
Yes, end it. It has to end. It's not something we'll have to condone in no small way. No. So if you know that even in your own home, when they realize that this is the kind of a person you are, you can be attacked within even your own home, and then within your own community, it will be frowned over and all that. Then you have to end it.
Stop it.
You have to, yes, you just have to stop it. You just have to end it. You see, the point I really want to hammer home is that, and I'm sure some of them might be listening, I hope they are. The thing is this: what is wrong, and what is right. There is nothing like a middle way. There is nothing like a middle way. You see, we've tried to entertain it. I mean, in the US, in other European countries, it's being entertained. So they are growing wings. It needs to be clipped off immediately. It's being entertained. So what we don't want to give room, the reason why we don't want to give room is that the moment you give an inch, they'll take a mile. And then before you say your child, your daughter, whom you are hoping will come out nicely. And you see, with our culture, my brother was saying not everybody will have to have a child. Well, to some extent, but with our culture, it is the onus lies on you to produce, or else you are cutting short the family. Yes, it is a must. It's a must that you must have children so that your name progresses.
Yes, the legacy must continue.
Exactly, the legacy. Yes, you've said it right. The legacy must continue. So if you say that not everybody is supposed to or has a right not to, then are you trying to say that your predecessors were not wise to have given birth to you? No, they found it wise to bring you into the world. It was their choice. They could have said no. In fact, they could have aborted you, but they gave birth to you. Despite whatever the economic conditions might have been, they've given birth to you. You've come into this world. You also have to give back. And you don't give back what is so negative. You give back what is good. And you see, in our setting, whatever you do has a bearing on the name you carry. You understand? So if you get yourself involved in something like that, which culturally, traditionally, is an indictment onto the name you bear, you're actually putting your family's name into disrepute. And you see, for us, when it comes to marriage, we have to, assuming I walk into your house, my son walks into your house, sees your daughter, and is interested in your daughter, we will have to investigate the kind of family the son is going to marry into. Or your side will also have to investigate into my family. What kind of family is this? And then when they investigate in your family and they realize that there is LGBTQ, people, even if it's one, it's an indictment to your name. Yes, it's an indictment to your name. Yes. So that is the gravity of what we are dealing with. And that is why many families will not entertain it. Many families will not condone it. Many families will not give an inch. They will not hate you as a person, but they will hate what you do. But most invariably, you still be the same person to be affected. So at the end of the day, you just have to end it. You see, forgive me for sounding so a bit sarcastic when it comes to these things. Even animals don't behave like that. And we consider animals as down there in the gradings of our natural system, lowest in the hierarchy. Even they don't behave that way. Why should we, human beings, and then we add rights to it?
Yeah, there's so many things. I mean, I would have to personally look at animals' behavior to really speak on that deeply, because you have given me some thought. But I do look at so many different things that, for example, Christians here. I know Christians here who are culturally were raised in a traditional marriage, one man to one woman, and then they learn that in Ghana traditionally you can have more than one wife, and it's like, hey, I'm going to Ghana, so you know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, this is quickly changing. I'm not really married to this tradition in the US, because in Ghana I can go and live with 3 or 4 wives and be okay, right?
Yeah.
Now, to the ex-wife of that individual is an abomination.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So
that's right.
When you have a cultural differences that are so wide and vast from different countries, and then you have people traveling from different parts of the world, it makes you question, right? How, that right and wrong, not only question God, but how we perceive, is it God or is it the perception of God? Is it real? Is it right because it's how you perceive it? Or is it because the Bible says so? Because the Bible, tells people different things or interpret it in different ways, and what we decide to follow. No.
Let me just put it this way. Even if we say we are holding on to the Bible for a moment, just for a moment, putting the scriptures aside, which we can't do, but let's just do just for a second. Excuse me to say, why did we grow up with a male organ? And why did the other grow with a female organ? You understand?
To procreate.
Yeah, exactly. And also to bond. You understand? Yes. To procreate and also to bond. To feel that oneness, being part of each other. You understand? That is the essence of that. All right. Now, these things are inbuilt in us. Okay? These things are inbuilt in us. But you see, how do these things come about? Okay? It has come about because of some ulterior influence, which is just against our human nature. Somebody from somewhere just is trying to explore and finds it, okay, this feels good, so let me continue with that. Someone also thinks that, oh, men are a problem. So, having a woman is okay. And such a person is not willing to change, especially when their pride and their innate arrogance is just not allowing them to submit. So all these things are coming out of such things like that. Some men, are not willing to submit to the fact that they have to have a woman in their lives and they have to be responsible. They have to reach out emotionally. They will have to reach out. They are just being lazy and arrogant in reaching out.
Or caring for the children.
Exactly.
Or
they just want to be irresponsible. So in covering up their irresponsibility and covering up their arrogance and, so to speak, laziness, they choose to adapt things like that.
Right.
You understand?
I think it's very this is a fascinating conversation, and while I don't want to focus on so much the LGBTQ legislation, it is just one example of how, you know, I brought it up because that's one area where it's a vast difference between the push for legislation and religion. Let's say.
Right.
But don't you think this particular century, this 21st century, has also changed a lot of things? Because I think social media influence the type of movies we watch and the type of some stuff that we have been paying attention here has also contributed to this stuff. Pastor, don't you think?
You know what?
Because the internet, right now you go on the internet, stuff like this is going on, and we are embracing it to be normal.
Yeah.
Over here.
You know what, Saki? It will surprise you that these things started from the secondary schools.
Okay.
Many, many years ago.
The boys' school and the girls'
the boys' schools, especially from the girls' schools, there's something they call supi. You understand?
Yeah.
But it happened during the secondary school age. It was a way the ladies explored themselves. But when they came out of secondary school, it ended. You understand? So even before technology had become so accessible, easily accessible, it used to be there. You understand?
Now it's just being filmed.
Now it's, exactly, yes. Yeah. In the boys' schools, when they caught you, they'll beat you up. Yes, though it was there in a very subtle manner. But when they caught you, they will beat you. They will beat the hell out of you. You understand?
But people have assumed that when women are doing it, it's considered to be a bit normal than when guys are.
Exactly. That's where the explanation comes from. Because the source of it was from their secondary school days. Okay. You understand? Their secondary school days. And this has been there, God knows how long. You understand?
And if you traditionally can have more than one wife, then you have 3 women in a household, or is it one woman in each house? If you have 3 wives, do you have 3 homes, or do you have them all in one home?
They can be in the same house, depending on how you control them. Yeah,
right.
Okay,
that's happened.
Yeah,
they can also live in separate.
That's right. It's an interesting thing, but the Muslims, because it is accepted, they are good at handling that. Now, with the Muslims, before you get to that level of wanting to have more than one wife, in fact, your finances will be checked. If you have that much money to be able to, so that you can
support them.
Exactly. Now, in some cases, they are that rich that they can have 3, 4, 5 houses. So they place the women in various homes. So this week I am here. The following week I am in this house. The following week I'm in that house. Or they are in a big building with different, apartments.
Yes.
You understand? Okay. So that's how it's done. But you see, because from their standpoint and belief, they live with it beautifully. They handle it. In fact, you tend to realize that one of the wives is responsible for taking care of all the women, or all the children.
All the children.
Yes, all the children, irrespective of who gave birth to them.
Everybody has their assignment.
Yes, everybody has the assignment. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So this one is taking care of the finances of the home. This one is taking care of the educational stuff of the home. This one is taking care of the feeding of the home. So it's division of labor.
Yes, I could see the value in that. The division of labor, just makes it easier to manage all, as opposed to just having one person.
Right.
If I go to Ghana and I have 3 husbands, is that acceptable?
Like what is happening in South Africa? South Africa is trying to legislate 1 woman with 2 husbands and things like that.
Yes.
Well, they are doing everything possible to have that passed.
Oh.
I think it is passed already, or I think it's in Parliament. They are working on it in South Africa.
Because I'm thinking it was good for the goose is good for the gander, no?
The problem.
If you, the lady, can handle, that's fine.
They'll have to check my finances.
Yes.
The interesting thing is that today, just when I was driving to Takrady, I was listening to, I think, BBC, from they are transmitting from Takrady. Yes. So one of the arguments that came up was this. You see, when you have one man with quite a number of women, when you do a DNA check, you can tell that the man is responsible.
Yes.
The DNAs agree.
Okay.
Yes.
But in the case of the woman, where he has to sleep with 2 or 3 men,
yes,
if she gets pregnant, whose responsibility will that be? That is one. Whose name does the child bear? Are they going to vote, or they are just going to cast a ballot? How are you going to handle those things?
Voting is the right process.
Exactly. You understand? So that is a thorny issue there that I'm sure by now they are scratching their heads on how best to handle that.
Well,
my
thing is, if I decided to have 3 husbands, I'll keep my name. My kids will keep my name, and you guys can go if you want to, stay if you want to. I'm good. I divide the labor.
Do you think I will agree for my kid to have your name?
No, I'll just put my name on the child, and then I'll just divide the labor amongst y'all. There's one last question I have.
Sure.
We also discussed. And on the clip before the air, DJ Saki was talking about, we talked about Jesus, Black Jesus. Do you have a picture of a Jesus in your church?
When you play the ad, Pastor heard it and started laughing. I made mention that when you're having a crusade or you are in a church and you mention that Jesus is black, you may lose all your members.
Okay.
Do you have a picture of Jesus?
No, in my church. No, in my church, there's no picture of Jesus there.
But you have seen pictures of Jesus in church.
But unfortunately, the pictures of Jesus that are pasted in churches is not him.
Okay.
It's not him. No, it's not him.
Okay.
Because strictly speaking, Jesus is not white.
No.
It's not white. From where he comes from, he's not white. Joseph is Jewish. Mary is Jewish. If we say the Jews are white, then he could be white. But if the Jews are not white, he's not white either. But we believe that Jesus is more of a brown person. Now, brown, we call it brown, but actually the brown color is the name of Adam. Adam's name is a color, is the originality of man.
Okay.
That's why he's called Adam. Okay, so Adam, strictly speaking, is a color. You understand?
Wow.
And Adam is not white. Neither is he totally black.
Okay.
Kind of a fair.
Yes.
In between.
Exactly,
yes.
But I thought you said there's no in between.
No, in between with regards to
color. I know.
Exactly, yes. Yes. So that is it. So Jesus... Anybody, of course, the whites just try to paint it that way so that they look superior.
Yes.
But we thank God that now we are more enlightened.
Yes. Okay.
So nobody can come and stand before us.
Are you sure we are more enlightened? Because
yes, we are.
Infants, when they go to school, you're still seeing this white Jesus.
Yes.
When you see the taxis, cars, white Jesus pointing his 2 fingers over here. You understand? We're still seeing white Jesus.
You know something?
Tell me.
When you are traveling in the night, the car you use, the dim has an extent to which the light gets to. At high beam, you have the light going further.
Right.
Yes.
The scriptures is light. Over when the English people came to Cape Coast for the first time and they brought the Bible, they gave a certain explanations to the scriptures. Now we have received more light. So some of the how do you call it? The explanations they gave. Thank God that we have received more enlightenment.
Yes.
And as we speak from Black Africa, the scriptures is being taken back to the Western world again, being taught better.
Okay. So it's just a matter of time before people start thinking about that.
Exactly. So very soon people will come to realize that, strictly speaking, Jesus Christ is not a white person.
It's not a white. Pastor, I want to thank you.
I think we need to save this topic for another time.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We have come to the end of our show. We have extended a little bit over an hour.
We had a lot of messages that we should have read.
We have a lot of messages that we have not read.
Pastor saying gay, you know.
Yes.
Yes, I'm expecting.
She thinks gay is okay.
Listen, we need to have you back. We need to have you back because I think it's important for people to understand the culture itself of Ghana and how it relates to its legislation, so that people have a level of expectation on when they move to Ghana, how am I to live there? And I think that's important. I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. I want to have you back. DJ Saki, take us out. See you again next Wednesday at 10. This is the only radio and TV show dedicated to the diaspora.
All right.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Take us out. My name is Aleida Castillo. You're listening to Culturally Lit Africa. I am your host of Culturally Lit Radio Show.
I'm an open book, you know. Really just looking to create opportunity for people.
If you're a great singer and you don't have a good character and you don't know how to talk to your musicians, you will always change musicians.
If you have a church,
yes,
or maybe a crusade, and you mention that Jesus is black, you might lose all your members. I'm telling you.
Africa, you